The cool thing too is it's all different. It's really different, and it continues to change. And I remember, talking about running with intention. For the longest time, I didn't run with music. When I was using, there was always music. There was always podcast. It was part of the numbing, the running. Turn on music, turn on podcast, listen to a book, and just go run. Go get lost in my head. Got sober, couldn't do it. Now I'm back.
It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. Today's adventure is Robbie and I. As promised before, we won't have guests for a little while, so we do have a couple that are going to be sprinkled in here and there. I think you'll enjoy the guests that we're going to have, so it's funny.
And I think
Hey,
like
Robbie,
today's...
I actually...
Go ahead.
We're just stepping on each other. I invited another guest after we said that we're not going to have another guest on. I invited another guest, but I think you'll appreciate this one. I haven't told you about it yet, but Chase and Casey Hammond are going to come on the podcast and do a race preview of Cowboy 200.
Perfect. Just what to expect. I have to tell you about the dream I had last night about Cowboy.
Oh, well, I mean, we got time. Let's go.
Let's go into it. But that'll be awesome because get the perspective, and they were on here before, and I think they deserve the love.
For sure.
They deserve. And
if you're still on the fence about Cowboy, whether it be a 200 or the 100, just know that Robbie and I are going to be walking a mile, running a mile for 200 miles. And so if you want to join us, there's still spots available to jump in. I just looked. So come run 200 miles with us. Come walk 200 miles with us.
It's going to be fun. As much fun as we can have.
I wonder how quickly the run one, walk one turns into run a half one, walk a mile and a half one.
Or then run a quarter mile, walk 2 miles.
Yeah. What is our 2 mile run walk turns into like a quarter mile run, 1.75 mile walk.
Let's leave it up to the listeners to do an over under on.
Oh, that's actually really good. Hit us up on this podcast Instagram and let us know what you think are and how long we last on the run one, walk one.
And whoever comes the closest, we'll give some swag. We'll come up with some swag.
I would be willing to bet that we could do this for 100 miles.
I'm going to go with yes.
I think 100 miles seems pretty reasonable. But here's the thing, when you're doing an ultra like that, you're going to stop at aid stations. So if you're walking into the aid station on your walking mile and you spend, like, the aid stations are 20 to 25 miles apart, so you're going to spend a little time at the aid station. Do you finish your walk when you leave the aid station, or do you start running?
I think we should finish our walk.
I think you do, because then you're going to get way off. You're going to be thrown off, because if you have a half a mile left for leaving that aid station and you run it, then you walk the next mile, you're going to be so confused, and you're going to be, you're going to end up running more than you wanted to.
I think the same way with running too. If we're running, we come to an aid station and we got a quarter mile left, we run out.
Okay. All right.
Because
Here we are along the way planning our route. It's so stupid. This is so dumb. Why are we doing this? 200 miles. Oh my gosh.
200 miles of flat.
So long.
Nebraska plain.
Yeah, flat. Hey, but I'll get Nebraska. I'll get it knocked off my list. I got Wisconsin knocked off my list. So
you can quadruple.
There can't be a better race in Nebraska than the Cowboy 200, right?
Is there any other races?
Probably not.
I guess we can ask them.
All the Midwesterners are like, yeah, there's this one. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But the Cowboy 200 seems the most appealing.
Deep dive into it, not the 100. Let's go right to 2.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think after I've run 600s, I think it's time to take the leap. But here's my prediction. And this is my prediction on July 6th. We got 3.5 months till the 200, but I think we do it in under 3 days, so sub 72 hours, and we run one, walk one for 100 miles.
We just got to do it now.
Yeah, now we got to No, we gotta like, I'll be throwing up at mile 30 and be like, oh,
I'll be
it's
like,
gonna
run,
be
goddammit,
1,000
run.
degrees.
We're on our run time. We can't walk. We'll get all screwed up. You got to run.
When your run mile becomes almost as fast as your walk mile.
Yeah, I guess let's put that out there. We never said how fast this run mile is going to
That's
be.
exactly true. If it's slightly 10 seconds faster, then I think it counts. So,
And we'll go,
see.
with the real, definition of run, both feet off the ground at the same time.
Both feet. Well, I mean, if you're running 15-minute miles, I don't know, both feet are off the ground.
Well, we'll make it.
We'll make
We
it.
might be skipping.
Oh my gosh. Hey, we haven't done any life updates in a minute. Let's do what you got going on, Robbie? I got this awesome picture this morning of the famous hole in the rock at Bighorn. If you've ever been out to Bighorn, you understand what I'm talking about. You got the famous picture there. Your buckle has the little hole in the rock. I don't even know. Is there something is that called something?
I was just going to ask you, what is it called? Does anyone know?
I have no idea. The hole in the rock.
Put it
I don't know.
put it on the Instagram. What the name
Yeah,
is?
it's just
Someone's got to know.
yeah, somebody. What have you been up to?
I had to go out there and do some work in Sheridan. So I was like, well, if I'm going to go out there, I might as well spend the night and get a couple runs in. Haven't been, the week before that, I was in Utah and got a banger of a run in. It wasn't a run, let me say, a very slow crawl. I got 4,000 feet of gain in 3 miles. And so that was very slow. It took me 2 hours to go 3 miles. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Most people would think that that's horrible, but I had a good time. So then another work thing, I was like, well, I might as well use what I can. So I got finished up and headed up through Dayton. And my initial plan was I wanted to get on the course somewhere, Nerd Cluster. Oh, I got these other things. I had a few things that I'll have to talk about. My plan was to get up on, and I really wanted to get up on the course from Sally's footbridge, drive around, and that was the initial plan. Then I started doing some research, and I've never drove that, but I also wanted to be able to camp somewhere close so I didn't have to, I could just leave from camp and run. Didn't have to do all that because I had my old dog with me, then a crazy dog Lucy. And I was kind of looking, didn't look like, it said day use only, and I needed water for the dogs and not the raging river that I'm sure is still going down there, Sally's.
Yeah, that thing's nuts.
So I was like, you know what? Why don't I just go up to Jaws? And I was driving up to Jaws. And for people that don't know, from Dayton, the start of the race up to Jaws, it's over an hour drive. I'm not sure what the exact, maybe hour and a half.
How did you find it not following 100 different cars?
What was that?
How did you find it not following 100 different cars?
Well, every time I've drove up there, I've gotten lost. I've taken a wrong turn.
Oh, it's a nightmare back there.
It is kind of a nightmare when you get on the dirt road. So anyways, I was driving up there and I remembered it was the 4th of July weekend. I saw people, camping all over the place. And, I was like, screw it. I'm going to take this other turn. There's this Burgess Junction. And I turned left there instead of going straight as you do to go to Jaws. And just found a dirt road, pulled off, drove up this dirt road. And I wanted somewhere to camp where there was water really close so I didn't have to worry about the dogs. Cruising along, got to see a moose and a calf. Right by a guy that was fishing, didn't even know that they were there. I got out and he was looks over at me, then he sees the moose and he's like, obviously a hunter because he was doing the whole whispering thing as if we were hunting. So I went over there and I talked to him and he was like, I didn't even notice. I'm like, dude, when I turned the corner, they're in the water right next to you. He's like, oh, I was trying to catch this fish and it took off and I was changing my lure. And I was like, yeah. I was like, it's a calf and a mom. He's like, oh, I'm not going to bother them. I'm going to catch dinner. So that was the beginning. Then finally I found somewhere to camp. Cool little spot. Then I just started running from there. I was on this road. Then the road ended. And there was these people camping in a Volkswagen Bug, like 9,000 feet. And I was like, okay. And I was like, is this the end of the road? They're like, yeah, there's a trail that takes you down to this marsh. So I just kept going. Well, I don't know if it was a trail, but you might be able to talk about it, Justin. Like, moose create some pretty big game trails. Like I've been on
They
a lot
do.
of game trails like deer and elk and those, but this looks like it was a big normal trail that was made. So I just kept following it. It turns into marsh. Then I get into this dense part of the forest and there's trails going everywhere and they all look like they're man-made. Then of course I start seeing moose poop everywhere. I was like, hmm.
Time to go.
Well, I looked down at the dog and turned the music up and said, well, I guess we're going for an adventure. And so we kept going. Started raining on us a little bit. Then we ended on this old logging trail, old logging road. And I used on Onyx backcountry and got on there and looked. And I saw that this road like started going back to where I was camping. So I was like, okay. It was so old that there was huge trees on it, but it was flat. So it was probably, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 years old, but it was flat. And so was able to run that. Then I came to another road. It was actually marked, which was weird with some weird number. Came to another road, looked on Onyx, and they showed that it took me like right back to camp. So I was like, got on that road, same type of thing. Then it turned into nothing. Then I was on moose trails again. And I did like this big, huge lollipop and ended right back where the road ended, where those people were camping. And this was probably maybe an hour and a half after I passed them. And I scared the crap out of them. And came out of there and they're like, how was it? And I said, oh, it was fun. I was more worried about the moose than the bears. I just started laughing. Anyways, go back to camp, wake up, and it was 38 degrees when I woke up.
That's wonderful.
It was. I woke up in the middle. No, I got to get into the dream part too. Woke up in the middle of the night. I had to put my hoodie on because I was a little cold. Then, I had to take a pee, but I didn't want to get out of the tent to take a pee because it was so cold. So I waited till I couldn't hold it no more. And while, I'm in and out of sleep because I got to pee so bad and I'm going back to sleep, I have this dream and it kind of woke me up like in a frantic that we were doing the Cowboy 200. I was in my work clothes
That's
and
fun.
it was so hot that we couldn't do anything. And we were just having a horrible time. And it was weird though. It was like one of those dreams where like wasn't a real dream type of thing. I don't know. It was weird, but I kind of was like, oh my gosh, when I woke up and made sure I was in the tent and all that. It was a very weird dream. I was like, oh, that was just a dream. Then,
But well, I think Cowboy does have a reputation of being hot, so
yeah,
that could be, I'm gonna be coming. There's gonna be snow on the ground when I fly down there to run this 200. So I'm gonna die.
you might.
3 days in the sun. It's gonna be awful.
Sorry, I packed up camp. Maybe that was the problem too. It was like I was cold and hot, whatever. Packed up camp and uh, I was driving down this dirt road, found this trail. I was like, I'll get on this trail. And I looked where I was, and I was like, just a few miles from the highway out of Dayton. I was like, so I did a big lollipop, wasted a bunch of time yesterday. I was like, I'm going to go down Dayton and go check out, that Tongue River Trail. Drove down there. Then that's how, I got on the trail. And it was about 60 some degrees when I got down there. And it was just blazing hot. I was just pouring sweat. And there was,
Tongue River Trail is really sweet, though. That's a really cool trail.
yeah. And it's super cool. When I got there, there was one other car in the parking lot. Then a lady pulled up with her dog, got out, and she was running too. I just let her go in front of me. But that canyon traps that heat. Like those rocks right there, right where you get down to the parking lot, I guess it is, the trailhead. I mean, when I was going up, I'm like, oh, when I run the Bighorn 100, like I can see why people just overexert themselves. Like the trails, it's runnable, but it was so hot. And I got
Yeah,
up to
that's
that
like
part.
mile 2.
Yeah, yeah. And I was just like, I would be walking like really slow and taking my time because
Probably caught it in the same time frame that
I started at
10-ish.
9:00.
Okay, so you imagine later because the race starts at 10. So no, the race does start at 9. So
Yeah, I think they've moved it to
that
9
race
now.
starts at 9. Yeah. So yeah, you can imagine that's exactly what the race will feel like.
Then you get up out of that canyon, you start getting on that grassy section where it's pretty steep. And I was like, My dog was getting hot. Luckily, there was, places, that creek that comes by, got in the water there for a while.
I was gonna ask if you did the climb.
I don't got up to the spot and kind of like, it was kind of steep in the grass. Then it kind of petered out. And I could see a little bit of another little hill, but I turned around right there.
You would know this is the climb. It's because you haven't ran that section yet, have you? That's the only section you haven't ran. It's like
Correct.
a 4,000-foot climb, so you would definitely know. It's 4 or 5,000 foot, so you would definitely know
Yeah, I
because
didn't,
it takes you up to that aid station, whatever that aid station is.
what is it, Sheep Creek?
I think it's Upper
Upper
Tongue
Sheep Creek?
River,
Okay.
and then it takes you to the 13-mile mark.
To Dry Fork.
Dry Fork, yeah,
That's 18 miles, isn't it? Dry Fork's 18 miles.
13.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I got up to the point where it started turning into
13
grass.
on the start of the race, but 18 on the end.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Because
Yeah.
that extra 5 miles. I got up to
No,
where
you would know if you did the climb. You would know.
So when I turned
Straight up.
around, I went to that cave. I don't know where there's that bridge right at the beginning when you get on the Tongue River. There's a bridge on the left. It's not even a quarter mile as soon as you get on the trail.
Oh, okay.
There's
I
a
was
big-
Congo line there. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, there's a bridge that goes across the river, then it takes you up to this cave. It was like about a mile-ish, back and forth. I turned around almost 4 miles, so I ran 3-ish miles up. And I was at 2,000 feet again.
Yeah, you might have got a little bit of the climb.
Yeah, I definitely, that last section, probably the last half mile, was
Yeah.
probably about 500 feet, 500, 600
Yeah,
feet.
it's just a big open field that just goes straight up.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
why
you're kind of in a canyon, but you're just going straight up.
there's that, you can see the Tongue River Canyon on the other side to the left.
Yeah.
And there was another canyon, and I was like right in the middle. Anyways, turn around there. Then as I was coming back down, there was a lot of people on the trail, and it got super hot. And soon as I got back down into that rock section by the trailhead, I was like, holy cow. I was just thinking about running that race, and like, you got to be on top of it, like both
Yeah.
ways, like, because if you're going up, like, you can, just get super hot really quick, but then the next day after you got 90 miles on your legs and you're coming back down, and if it's 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever time, and you've just been beat by the sun.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to run Bighorn.
I have some thoughts.
We need to get you on that one for sure.
I have some thoughts of some stuff I want to do too, for prep for Cowboy if I can get back down there. It's not going to be the same thing, but I'll be walking. But I would like to actually walk up to Jaws, hike, run, whatever, with all the stuff I need besides water, of course, whatever it takes, 30, 40 hours, just chill, time on feet type of thing, just because I love that area. That place is so cool. And
Yeah, so yeah, that'd be 48 miles to the top.
then turn around and walk back.
So you go do an out and back.
I do the whole course. Well, I wouldn't do the whole course. I'd probably just do to the trailhead to the Jaws. So how far do you run up the canyon? Is it just a mile? I guess
It's
it
like
is.
4. It's like 4.
From the start.
I think you're at like mile 7 at this once you get to the top. Because I think you're on the road for about a mile, and then you're on that trail for like 2.5, and then I think it's about 4 up the canyon.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking it'd be less than 100 miles if I just did from the trailhead to Jaws and back. But
Yeah, from the trailhead, it would probably be about 47 miles, 46, 47 miles. Call it a 90-mile day.
it might, yeah, a couple days probably.
Yeah. I mean, what you could do is you could walk up there, maybe carry a tent or something, like a light tent, sleep in your tent at Jaws.
Yeah, could do that too.
I don't know how long that'll take you walking to Jaws.
I'd do some running too. I would, it
Oh,
wouldn't
okay.
be all walking. It would be both, but it would be
Oh, okay.
more slower pace. I could take my hammock with me in a quilt.
Yeah, that would work. That'd be a cool adventure.
Then, I was also thinking about even just doing maybe 2 Sallies and back to 100K, maybe even starting at the park. And just
Yeah, I
walk.
wonder why they don't do 100K out there. That'd be a really cool 100K. To Sally's and back? That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Then I was also thinking, why don't they just start at the park and at the park? It'd be over 100 miles.
I think because it'd be well over 100 miles,
It'd be
105.
or Black Hills is what 109, 110. Given
I think Black Hills is like 105,
is
106.
it 105, 106?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have to have all those. It's probably heritage and the thing of the race, but you wouldn't have to have those buses going up the Tongue River. You could just start at the park.
That would be kind of cool. I don't know. It's got to be an issue with like permitting or something or road crossing. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't know either. I was just
Personally,
thinking
I
about
don't
that.
want to run on that road for 10 miles, but that's
Yeah,
just
it'd
me.
be a pain in the ass. It'd
It's
be
so
that much
hot.
harder, right?
Yeah, it would be that much harder.
Yeah, but that's what I did the last 2 days. So.
It's awesome.
Oh, I did get on the 4th of July here in South Dakota, well, in Rapid City. The Valley likes to do their fireworks quite well. Kind of crazy. In Rapid City proper, you can't have fireworks, which is weird, but just over down the road, you can have whatever fireworks. So I left my house. It was about 9ish. Then I ran up Skyline Drive. Everyone was already
Yeah.
up there, and with the dog, and we went up there and watched the fireworks. It was pretty cool, actually, because the valley had a better show than any of the places that had fireworks here. And
I know.
was
It's so funny.
was
I've
just
watched them
going
up there
forever.
before. It's crazy. It's so funny. Hilarious. That's so you got a little night run in and then get to watch some fireworks at the same time. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because it was something I've always wanted to do, but be truthful, I was always too drunk by the time. And 4th of July was always a big celebration to drink for me. And usually when the sun came up, I started drinking. And by the time the sun went down, I was going down with it. So this was like I was like thinking to myself, my daughter was out hanging out with her friends. I was like, well, this is perfect time. So I went and did it. And I sat on a little hill, and my dog Lucy could care less about noise. She came from hunting. Her mother was a hunting sporting dog champion. So she's been around gunfire her whole life. She could care less about anything that makes noise. So she just, running around being a dog as normal. But I sat down on the side of the hill and was like, I'm pretty grateful right now that I can actually do this sober and enjoy it, because past,
cool.
I might have still done it, but I probably would have been pretty drunk.
How's your sober journey coming? I mean, what December will be? Is it November or December? That'll be 3 years.
It'll be it's late November. It'll be
Late
3
November.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it marked in my calendar, but I didn't want to bring it up.
It's going good. There is definitely a lot of learning and a lot of growing to do with it. A lot of stuff that I have to face sober instead of running from, and I don't always know how to deal with a lot of that stuff because I've always just ran from it. And even like if it happens again, like they hit different sometimes. So still a learning phase and trying to figure out ways not to run from it, because I can still run from it. And I don't know if I've talked about this before here, but I would run from stuff after I got sober. I used running as a cross addiction, and that didn't work too good for me. And I don't like to hear a lot of ultra runners saying that they quit addiction by started running, because I mean they just change one addiction to another addiction, even though it's healthy. It's you and I know it's not.
Yeah,
it
can definitely be unhealthy. For sure.
And so my mindset was ever do this for me and do it real. So a lot of times when I'm having those shitty things and I want to go run, I'm like, nope, you're gonna sit in it.
Yeah, I know initially when when you got sober that you kind of gave up drinking. Or no, yeah, obviously you gave up drinking. You kind of gave up running. And, you and I talked a lot about it offline, and I listened to some of the other podcasts that you were on, trading one addiction for another.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't want to do that. And so it's interesting that, still 3 years later, that's something that you struggle with. But I am glad to see that you're taking running back up, and you're, using it not necessarily as a replacement, but it's part of who you are as a person. You're a runner, trail runner, been a trail runner for forever. And so it's exciting to see that part of you come back, get somewhat of the, not the mid, not the back, but the front of the pack Robbie back.
The cool thing too is it's all different. It's really different, and it continues to change. And I remember, talking about running with intention. For the longest time, I didn't run with music. When I was using, there was always music. There was always podcast. It was part of the numbing, the running, turn on music, turn on a podcast, listen to a book, and just go run, go get lost in my head. Got sober, couldn't do it. Now I'm back and I'm on book 2 of Carl. And,
Carl and Donut.
I'm almost done with book 2. And
What a great series.
I played some of it with my daughter when on the ride home today. And she was like, "What are you listening to?" And then I explained it to her. And she was telling me about some of the movies she watches and kind of the same type of thing. But right now, what's that guy's remix?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The guy that I was just like, whoever this guy that wrote this book, I'd like to sit down and have a conversation because it is the wildest book and the wildest ride. Like, you think you know what's going to happen? No. Like, it'll just go completely
No, it
some
takes
other
left
direction.
turns and it just keeps getting better and better.
When
You got 5 more to go.
I'm going to go slow because I know I'm just going to take a smooth ride with it because it's so good.
I
What
couldn't
really
help it,
caught me
man. I
though
had to go full blast.
was in the book 1 where he meets the goblins that are addicted to meth. And he's trading meth for that steam car that I was
So
like,
stupid.
what the hell is this?
It's so wild, man. Who thinks of this stuff?
Yeah, you listeners out there, you should, like, even if you're not into fantasy or not, this book will grab you by whatever and it will not let you go because
Well, not Dungeon Crawler Carl. You have to check it out. I've told a bunch of people about it, and I don't know if anybody's actually like taken my advice after I kind of tell them what the book is about. But it's like this guy and his ex-girlfriend's cat go on an adventure. So it's just like it's hard to explain a book like that to someone, but if you buy the book, you get the book, you're going to be addicted to it. There's 7 of them right now. I think the intention is to have 10 of them by the end of it. So it's crazy. It is a wild book. And listen to the audio because the audio is way. I mean, I don't read. I just listen. So I don't read books. I'm not that intelligent. So I just listen to books. But the narration on this is fantastic.
after book 1, they were talking whatever they come on with a little commercial of that. I was like,
They get the end of the book commercials get better and better. I'm telling you, they get really good. They get stupid good.
but that company who does the narrating of the book, I actually want to go check them out because they were like, if you like books like this, then they start, doing some other ones of books and it's like full. I don't even know what you call it. It's like if it was a
libraries
movie,
of them.
like if it was like a movie and
Yeah,
there's
like
sound
production.
effects and all that in there, and like, yeah, I'm gonna go check it out.
Yeah, they get better. Their production gets better the further they go along.
What's been going on with you?
Well, I just did a full podcast about myself recently, so everybody I think is caught up. I started training again this last week. I wanted to incorporate a lot more cycling into my fitness, and I'm going to go into Cowboy 200 cycling a couple times a week with running a couple times a week, 1 rest day. So 6 days a week, a combination of cycling or running. And I'm actually really liking it. I did a workout on the bike, which was crazy. So that was fun. And then, did a workout, running. So I'm still like lower mileage right now. So doing 2 workouts a week wasn't terrible. I did a long bike ride on Saturday, long 20 miles. It's not that long, but a long bike ride. And then, it was crazy. This morning I went out and I'm like, there's this loop that I really like doing. It's about 5-ish miles long. I just, it has like, I think 700 feet of gain. It's a decent little loop. I love it because it's just like get dense forest and then you get like real open wide forest. It's just such a cool 5-mile loop and I really like it. And I was like, I'm just going to go run the loop this morning. So I got up early this morning. I was the only one out there. It was just really nice and peaceful. And I normally listen to podcasts or books or songs, and I'm listening for a little bit. And then there was some ptarmigan on the trail. And when I came up on them, they kind of shot off. It didn't scare me because I saw them, but there was a bunch of them. I'm like, man, like, let me just turn my music off and just like enjoy nature. And so I did that. And I very rarely do that when I'm running alone, just for the fact that we do have animals out here that can kill you. And so, it's very rare that I will do that if I'm alone. But yeah, I just turned off everything and just ran and listened to the sound of my breath as I was dying. But it it was good to, just not have to go out for like, all right, I got to go out and do a 5-hour run on Sunday. It's just like, I know that's coming back. I get it. You got to be prepared for a 200 miler, but we're 12, 13 weeks out, whatever it may be. So it was nice to just kind of release and do a 5-mile run. It was crazy. Like, oh, I'm going to be gone for an hour. It's like, it's fun to, I love the long run. Don't get me wrong, but just going out for an hour and then you come home and do whatever. So it was great.
I'm back and you're like, I still have a whole day.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like I got back, nobody was even up yet. So I'm like, what is going on? What is it? What is going on? So I got back, I mowed the grass, had time and energy to mow the entire yard. We bought a Blackstone the other day for a 4th of July sale, and we've used it like every opportunity that we've gotten so far. So, Bethany's out making biscuits and gravy on the Blackstone. Crazy. You can make so much stuff on that thing.
Yeah.
That thing's awesome. I've been wanting one for a long time, and I just kind of like finally bit the bullet. I've been to Lowe's about 3 times so far this weekend because we just got a wild hair and decided that our downstairs bathroom needed to be remodeled this weekend. And so, of course, we just buy all of this stuff without doing any measurements or anything, right? And then we start pulling all the old stuff out of the bathroom. And of course, the vanity that we bought doesn't fit. So we got to take it back. We got to get a new vanity. This doesn't fit. We got to do that. Ripping the toilet out. Like this thing, the little seal deal is like from 2006 when the house was built. Like
Flat
we got to paint it. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And we have no idea what we're doing. Like we have zero clue what we're doing.
That's the best part.
I've never done a DIY before. We're YouTube DIYers now. So far the furthest that we've got is we have new paint on the walls. I covered the old holes from the screws from the window, the mirrors and different things. So we puttied those and we got paint on the walls. That's as far as we've gotten. Yeah. It's gonna be a fun ride. But we're gonna do the floors. We're gonna do it all. So it's just a half bath. It's a tiny little bathroom, so it's not like a very huge project. But I can understand a frustration because if you want to test your marriage, remodel something in your house. So that's A. B. It's the tiny little things that come up that you're like, dang it, I got to go back to Home Depot for that. And Home Depot is 20 minutes away, and so it's like, great. 20-minute drive back, 20-minute drive, and so it's like, it's going to be fun. I don't think you're going to get done this weekend. We have the rest of the day today, which is not very much. And then we have tomorrow because we're all off tomorrow on Monday. So I think it may be like one of those, when we get off of work on Tuesday, we're going to do this.
Piece it together.
Yeah, just be pieced together. Hopefully we get it painted and then maybe we can get the flooring in. And I think the rest should kind of fall into place. Like, putting the toilet back on won't be difficult. Putting the vanity in probably won't be that difficult. So I think those are the big pieces is getting the flooring in. And then, paint's not that hard, but stuff going back in is not difficult. It's just piecemealing it all together. So, but I think if we get the flooring in, I think we'll be fine. But who knows? Something else will pop up.
Of course. It won't be that easy.
Well, the idea is to redo the kitchen. That's the big goal is to redo the kitchen. But we thought, let's do the bathroom as a tester and see like how things go. And it's not going great.
If the kitchen takes you out, right? You can't make any. Well, the Blackstone, you can cook on the Blackstone. So that was good.
Yeah.
That was a good.
Well,
that was a good
I mean,
thing.
if you just won't have we're just replacing the cabinets. So we're just replacing the cabinets and the countertop. So you can still use the stove if it's not. You can still use it. It
not covered with cabinets.
Yeah, because it's just sitting there by itself. So
yeah,
I think I don't know. I don't know. Do you piecemeal it together? Like, do you just do the bottom and then you redo the top? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I would I'd probably do the cabinets before doing the counter. That way, if something falls on the nice new countertop, it doesn't damage it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Didn't even think about that. Well, you got to have counters on the bottom. You got to have the cabinets. You got to have the bottom cabinets.
Are you doing bottom cabinets too?
Yeah, you got to redo the bottom cabinets. We're doing it all. I don't know when this is going to happen. I would like to do this as a winter project, but
sounds like a better winter project. Yeah,
it does. It sounds like a better winter project, but I think
it depends. I guess it depends how your kitchen's laid out too, because you might be able to get away with not having to get custom cabinets if you got some weird angles in there.
Yeah, I don't want to do custom cabinets. I'm just going to do the ones that are already built in a box. Go grab them.
Then you should be okay. Then you should be okay as long as everything goes together as it should.
Custom cabinets seem way more difficult than to me. I'm trying to do this on the cheap. I don't want to do it on the expensive.
Yeah, I get it.
But I know on the cheap is not going to be on the cheap. I already know this. But anyway, that's my life updates. It's been crazy. So, well, hey, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and if you've never heard of this podcast, it's called Between Two Coaches. It is our sister podcast. They do phenomenal work. Nick and Amanda are amazing podcast hosts. They're better than me and Robbie. So if you're looking for another podcast, or if you're looking for a podcast to replace this podcast, I would suggest that one.
Only downfall, it's road running.
It is road running, so you're not going to get the crusty trail runners. We're working on Amanda. Nick's run an ultra before. I don't know. Yeah. I think it was a road ultra.
It was road.
Yeah, I don't think it was a trail ultra. So, but yeah, we're working on Amanda. We're going to get her on the trails. She's shaking her head right now as she's watching this. She's probably going to text me and say, "I'm not running trails," but we're going to get her on a trail run. At minimum, it's going to be a 50 miler, not a 50K. So
you got it, Amanda. You got it in you. We know it.
Amanda. You have a 50 miler in you, and we'll prove that to you. Anyway, so I was listening to their podcast, and they were talking about, of course, Western states, because that's what was in everybody's mind this last week. But specifically, they were talking about the David Roach thing, and I just thought that we should talk about it as well. So, if you're hiding under a rock and you don't know the David Roach thing, so he went out hard. I read somewhere the first up of the escarpment, it's usually the first to drop. So lo and behold, Dave was up the first one up the escarpment. Not sure if he was the first to drop, but he was pretty high up the list. So I think he dropped at 62, 65. Is that what it was? It was somewhere, 38 miles left to go. So somewhere around that area is where he dropped. And then the live chat just went insane on, what is that? Oh, that's your cat. I was like, what is that? All I could see was his tail. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? The cat, Robbie's cat, just jumped on the table. Anyway, so the live chat just went crazy on like, this is what you deserve. Like, I knew you were going to fail. And first off, if you want peace of mind when you're watching Western States, just turn the live chat off. There's 30,000 people watching it on YouTube. I don't have time to listen to 30,000 people ask where Courtney DeWalter's at, knowing she's not even running the race. So I'm like, just don't even turn on the live chat, and then you'll have a more pleasant experience. But I first off want to say that I think everybody who was talking crap on the live chat has probably never ran a 100-miler. And they don't have an understanding of what 100-mile races are like. They hurt, they suck, they're not fun. They're fun when they're done, but they somewhat suck while you're in them. So I understand the whole drop, get it. The only thing that I don't like about the David Roach thing is, in the day before or the day of, he put out there, and I think we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast with Jeff Garmeyer, but he put out there, he said, whether it be 7:00 at night or 11:00 the next day, I'll see you in Auburn. And he could have sat at that aid station for 10 hours, probably, got good, and left. He could have walked it out.
He could have walked it.
He could have jogged it. He could have done a number of things, but he quit. And there was no injuries. The next day on his socials, he was saying, injury-wise, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm recovered. Like nothing's wrong. You know, it was all in his head. And I even went and listened to the SWAT podcast of his DNF, and his wife said, "You suck at suffering." And that kind of, she did. She said, "You suck at suffering." And that kind of brought to something to me. And I was thinking about it. I was like, do the elites suck at suffering? Because when things get hard, a lot of times they quit. If they're not in a position to win, if they get in their own head, we see it all the time. They quit. And I'm like, do the elites suck at suffering? Do they have good races? Like David had great races at Javelina last year, Quad Rock this year, at Leadville last year. He had really great races. Everything went well that was supposed to go well. And we've had races like that as well. Everything went like it was supposed to. We ran perfect. It was a great race. But then you had the races where you can't control the uncontrollables, like the weather or X, Y, and Z, and things start to fall apart. And if you're in a position where you don't know how to suffer, you don't know how to handle those things, you quit. And so, or you don't know what to do. And you're getting into your own head like we all do. I mean, I've been in my own head. I was in my own head 3-4 weeks ago when I was running kettle. Robbie, I know you've been in your own head before. It's just like, it's part of ultra running. Yeah. It begs the question, do elites not know how to suffer?
That brings up a good point. Like a lot of these, I still don't know. It might have been talked about, Courtney, dropping out of Cocodona 100 miles in. It might have come out why she stopped, but we know she can suffer. We've seen her suffer.
I don't think it ever did. I don't think it ever came out.
It was just that she had a bad day or something. That's all I heard, right? And we've seen this, time in, time out. I don't know if, they're just like, it's not my day. I'm not going to podium, pull out and find something else where I can podium to keep making the money or getting sponsors or whatever it be, the bonus, whatever, all those things. I don't know, because a lot of them won't, talk about that. But, your point of, do they suck at suffering? That's a really good point. I know with the mid packers and the backpackers, there's a lot of suffering going on. If you're doing hard rock and you're trying to beat that 48-hour cutoff, you can't tell me that there was no suffering involved. You were out there for, we'll just say 47 hours, 10,000 feet average, suffering, rain, hail, lightning, hunger, throwing up, whatever it may be, but you got it done. And that might be all is suffering. And that's why you do these things. When, some of these elites just drop out, especially super early, not to injury, it just begs to wonder, do they suck at suffering? And if they do have to suffer, do they just give up? That's a good question. I would love to hear from them because we see it all too often. And sometimes
I'm not saying they all don't, because I do agree. Like Tara Dower, like I think Tara Dower is a great example of someone who pushed further than what she should have pushed.
Agreed.
I mean, she's coming off of the AT,
not even a year, right?
Cocodona, and then she goes out to try to run Western, and and she should have quit before. Listening to some of her stories, she should have quit miles before she actually did, and I think she actually put herself in a really bad situation. So we have those people, right?
She probably shouldn't even run the race, to tell you the truth.
Probably not. But I mean, it's a Western States, you have obligations from sponsors, you have, a spot that you have that you may not have guaranteed next year. So sometimes you have to take advantage and suck it up because that spot may not be available next year, so.
A very good point.
But yeah, I think like she suffers. She knows how to suffer. Get Courtney knows how to suffer. She's very good at it. There are the elites that do. I'm not saying there's not. I don't want to, catch hate, but I think that there are some that things don't go their way and they quit. So I don't know. I understand all sides of things. I understand like what you just said about sponsorships, save it for another race. I understand all of that. But this is the big stage. This is the granddaddy of them all. Like there's not many bigger than Western States. If you're running your mom and pop tune up, things aren't going well, you drop. I get that. I understand that. That's whatever.
Yeah.
But it's Western States. Like there's one maybe bigger, UTMB. Like there's not many bigger than Western States. Why are we dropping out?
And give it to David. He put it out there. We watched Walmsley put it out there for 3 years before he finally got it right. Kudos to him putting it out there and trying.
Walmsley missed a turn. And what year was it? 2016? He missed the turn?
I can't remember what year it was.
I can't remember what year it was he missed the turn. But guess what? He walked it in.
He did
He
walk
finished
it
the
in.
race.
He did.
He finished the race. Crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't know. Let's
But
talk about Adam Peterman.
I was going to say, then we got Adam Peterman that did walk it in and still sub 24.
Yeah, that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Kudos to him. I saw a lot of positivity focused around him on social media this past week.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very grateful for that. And it was positivity from his sponsors. So Scratch Labs did a whole feature on him of how they were so proud of him and all of what he was able to do out on the course because he had a bad day. I think at 65, 68, he had to start walking, but he walked the rest of the race in. He was in contention for, being a front runner, top 3, podium, top 10
Top 10
finisher.
for sure.
And he caught a bad day, just like everybody does, but he decided to finish the race. And I appreciate that his sponsors, recognize that, hey, it's not everybody's day. And they stood behind him. And I really appreciated that. I thought that was really cool. It was just, A, it shows the type of character that Adam has. And B, it shows that he actually had high regards for this race. Also, I want to know who his coach is that has him walking to finish at a sub 24.
Yeah, I would like to see a Strava what those miles looked like.
Hey, to be fair though, how many hours are you in it? Like, what are you at 10 hours? So he walked for 13 hours.
Yeah, you're right.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
So
40
he was
miles.
probably about, no, because they're at 100K at like 8 hours, right? 9 hours, 9 hours. So yeah, let's call it 9.
No, it's probably,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know when he came in, but yeah, because if you're going for, if they were going for the course record, they were probably there a little, 7 hours would be.
Yeah, 7 would be the 50-mile mark. So
Yeah.
So they were probably like 9 hours.
Yeah, probably.
So he walked for 13 to 14 hours.
Good for him.
That.
Could you imagine
awesome.
people catching up to him going, dude, what are you doing? Can I hang out with you for a while?
Oh, he got like 49th place or something. It's so great, man. I love it. I love everything about that.
I was thinking when you were talking about that.
He probably considers himself a back of the packer now.
There's so much pressure to get top 10, right, at Western, just to get that next spot in there for the next year. If now with Roach doing that, if he wants to go back next year, he's got to go get a gold ticket or get lucky on the lottery. That makes for some pretty badass gold ticket races when these guys do that. But yeah, I'm not going to say. I wouldn't say. I have a hard time with Javelina. I don't care, whatever, because it is what it is. I don't. Have we had someone go out there and kill Javelina and then come in Western States and place in the top 3 from a golden ticket?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, Javelina is it's not the climb, I think, that makes Javelina. It's the heat.
Yeah, and I get that part of it, but if you're running that fast, everything feels cool.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the qualifier races are, almost all of the golden ticket races are 100Ks.
Right.
Except for Javelina. I think Javelina because the Triple C is one. Black Canyons. I think there's one more. What is it? The Tarawar. The Tarawar 100K.
Is it the 100K or 100 mile?
I think it's 100K.
Okay.
But it might be the 100 mile. But I think they're all 100Ks except for that one. So, because some people who got a golden ticket had never run a 100-miler before. So
yeah.
Which is mind blowing to me that you would go into a 100-mile race, never have go into Western States, the biggest one of them all, never have run a 100-miler before. Mind blowing. We'll see if it works out or not.
The other thing too is if that I can't remember the name of that company or whatever, they gave the first person over 30 hours M11 or F11.
The race against man against horse, I think is
man against horse.
Yeah.
If they're going to do that next year, that could be like a fight for people going over 30.
I would rather finish the race and not have to go back and, I
But
mean,
you
it'd
get to
be
go
cool
back
to go
again.
back, but
Get to
you
go
get to
back
go back
again,
again.
and you'll finish next year.
Yeah, yeah. You DNF a race, the Western
get 2
States after
years
all
of
that
doing it.
work. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm gonna
I was
pass.
just wondering.
I'll
I was thinking that I'm like, I don't know how many people are like, well, if they do that again, I'm gonna get that. Then you got people at 30-0-1.
coming across.
They're
I
all
don't think
waiting there.
I don't think anyone does that. I don't think anybody plans to DNF just so they
I
can
would
go back
hope not.
again.
I would hope not. But people are weird.
People are very weird, very weird, very weird. All right, man. Well, it's been fun. It's been a blast. Yeah. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to do anything. We just want a review from you. So hook us up with the review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You could get on subscribe on YouTube. And as always, we'll see you on the trails.